So the topic today is, should he stay or should he go? We're talking about John Herdman. That's the current head coach of the Canadian men's national team. Been the head coach since 2018. Before that, he was the head coach of our women's team and had, quite a bit of success with them, including a bronze medal at the Olympics. And he's obviously had quite a bit of success recently with the Canadian men's team, including qualifying us for the first men's World Cup that we've been to in, is it 36 years?
Yep.
36 years, and only the second that we've ever been to. So, that's who we're talking about here. But perhaps hopefully this discussion can also go into a little bit of, obviously we acknowledge that there's been some success for John Herdman, but not everything was successful, including the performance at the World Cup itself. Our team lost all 3 games, and we probably played very well in the first game, but not so well in the other 2. And there were also some controversial moments in between the games in the media as well. So that's what we're going to talk about. And in the debate itself, we've got John that will be arguing in favor of keeping John Herdman in the job of head coach of the men's national team, and we've got Tony LaFerrara who's going to argue in favor of firing him. There is one little comment that came in the Q&A. It was answered. Yeah. So we'll definitely get this presentation emailed out to all of you. So if you want to see it and we're not able to get it up on the screen now, we'll make sure that we put it up once we post the video, and all of you that have registered will see it. And probably, Tony, we can even, maybe even do a webcast or something where it's on the screen and we walk through it. So I want to start with John DeBenedictis. Why do you think that John Herdman should not be fired as head coach of the men's national team?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons, which I'll save some for later. But basically, I think, he's done such a great job with the women's national program, and the men's program. Basically, we haven't been 30 years. He comes in, and a lot of people, were skeptical because he hadn't coached men for a while, and we weren't so sure. But he turned everything around. And one of the biggest things that he did, in my opinion, was that he convinced players who maybe had options other than Canada to stick around and play for Canada. And and that got us into the World Cup first time. And, we came at top of the group. Wasn't even squeaking by like Costa Rica did. We came top of the group. And then we get to the World Cup, and we compete against Belgium. And in fact, they, had Davy scored, and David had a couple of chances that maybe he could have done better. And I did grab a video of that. Maybe the game would have been completely different. Croatia, we had a great start. Maybe we let down a little bit there, but in the first 20 minutes we had more than one chance, and we competed with Morocco. So he's obviously, I'm sure, learned a lot on his own. Certainly, in the Croatians with some of the things he could have kept in the locker room, and maybe some of the tactics that he used. But I think we'll go through this later. The guy did a good job, and he's excited for Canada. He's good with the media, which I think is very important. We need that going forward for the next 4 years, so that everyone gets excited and we break records in viewing audience, both on in stadiums, but on television and in radio. So there's my short answer. Long answer.
All right, so maybe Tony, if we can get your opening statement, and then there's a few kind of directions that I think the conversation to go from there, outside of maybe not being able to share the PowerPoint.
Yeah. So what I did, and I'm really sorry about that. I apologize about it. I had about 30 different videos. The evidence. You can't accuse somebody and put them in jail or vote him off the island, as they say, without the evidence. So what I did, I put in all of these videos from Belgium and Croatia and Morocco, just to look at the way the team was playing, the way was set up, both defensively and offensively, right? How the goals were scored. Was it the players made a bad decision? Was it the wrong setup? Why did they score those goals? How were they scored? And are we going to blame Herdman for that, or is it because the players don't have enough experience to recognize certain situations and deal with it, and so on? So that's why the video evidence is. I thought it would be important, right? And I wish I could show it to you. One of the things that we did that I looked at Belgium, for example, the first game, right? Well, we started well, obviously, right? We're doing really well. We were pressing well. The top three, the three forwards, they were pressing well. They were doing a lot of good things. But there was one thing that Belgium was doing at the back, with Hazard and one of the right, the left winger. And the two of them were trying to create 1v1 situations at the back. And so Hazard comes into the midfield. The other player goes up. Anyway, without the video, it's hard to visualize. But they were doing that, for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the game. And it was, was successful. And Canada couldn't deal with it. And I'm thinking, okay, is it, did the coaches didn't do enough to fix that, or it was just the players that didn't have enough experience to deal with it, right? We look at the goal and we blamed the two center backs, but if you look at it, it's Richie Larea is keeping them onside. They were, the two center backs for the most part were doing the right thing. If Richie Larea takes one step up, then the player is offside. But he didn't, because he didn't know how to deal with the left winger. And so I wish I could show that. And so now, is it Herdman's fault? Or is it the players didn't deal with the situation right? On the goal again, just one thing, Richard, there. On the goal again, what I know is if you're playing such a high line, then you need to put pressure on the ball all the time. Don't let them play forward. That's what I tell my players all the time. If we're pressing, don't let them play forward. Let them play backwards, let them play sideways, but don't let them play forward. So if there is pressure on the ball and you are a center back and you see that, you have two options, right? You step up because you think they're not going to play forward, or you stay where you are. If there is no pressure on the ball, then you have two options again. You figure they're going to play up, I'm going to step up and get him offside, or you draw back. And so in that regard, the two center backs didn't deal with it properly, right? And the player up top didn't put pressure on the ball. And so there was a lot of things that didn't go right. And then Richie Larea keeps the striker onside. So there was a combination of all three things. But my question is it Herdman's fault? Or is it the players don't have enough experience at that level to be able to deal with those situations in a comfortable manner?
Right. So, yeah. I'll say I think you did a great job of painting the picture, Tony, and probably everyone who's listening can remember the goal, even if we can't see it on video. We all watched that game for sure. So I would say that maybe gives a good question, and maybe John, if you can chime in, how much of let's say the actions of the players. So Tony's kind of highlighted, let's say, at least a couple of mistakes. First of all, no pressure on the ball. And maybe the inability to deal, with the players on the left side of Belgium. Second, Larrea not being in line with his center backs, keeping the striker. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Chachis. No, yeah, you know who it is. The one that scored the goal, right? Okay, keeping him on side. Okay, and perhaps the center backs, being maybe a little caught in no man's land, not stepping, not dropping back to deal with it, and that's it. That was the goal that decided the game. How much of those player actions, John, like how much of the blame do you put on the coach, and how much of the blame do you put on the players? And obviously none of us were there during training, so we don't know how much training or we weren't there for the team talk. We don't know. All we know is the result. So does the coach take the blame for that?
Thank you for watching this short preview video from the National Soccer Coaches Association of Canada. To see the full video, plus have access to hundreds of other coaching videos, blogs, webinars, and podcasts, plus free and discounted coach education courses and other soccer merchandise, plus to have exclusive access to register for all future NSCAC conventions, both live and online, click on the link below to become a member of the NSCAC today. Also, please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as your continued support allows us to continue to provide coach education and coach development resources to soccer coaches across Canada and worldwide. Thank you again for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you at future NSCAC events.